Hi, welcome. This is a follow-on to the shot practice gym where I showed a set of drills that really works for me to help develop solid shooting skills. Here, I'm going to expand on the first drill where I showed doing a striped ball to the long rail and back. As I said, this is the first drill and it serves multiple possible purposes. Can simply be a warm-up where I practice my stroke hitting a ball and without regards to aiming and pocketing shots. It's also the right place to initiate changes to shot mechanics. To change shot mechanics, it's often better to do pure dry practice, and that can be done anywhere you have a level surface, and preferably a line or mirror to use as reference. This is my go-to place when I'm considering a change in grip, but I might also come here for stance changes, including leg and arm positions. Without a ball to worry about, I can quickly and easily try variations and directly see how straight the entire stroke is. I can do both partial and full strokes. I can stroke at any speed. The absence of a ball really makes a huge difference. When I consider a grip change, I come to the rail like this and force my wrist to move or my hand to move full stroke back and forward. Doesn't matter whether I plan to use wrist action like this in real shots. I find that it's important for alignment that I have a grip that works through in a straight line through the full range of stroke. If I make a stance change, usually changing one thing means I have to change other things as well. It's kind of an interconnected system. I use dry practice just with stance to quickly develop the correct habits and evolve my focus one aspect at a time. I find it better to do this at the table bed aligned on the spot, with or without a ball there. Do that 15 times. Then go to the next step. I do about 15 of the first step that's changed. Then I do it again with another 15 going from the start up to the next step that's changed. And yet another 15 if needed for a further step. This is amazing in how powerfully this can start a new habit pattern. Do this only after you have verified that this new stance yields good shot making. This is really important. Now, let's try hitting a stripe up the length of the table. Let's take the first one really slowly and carefully. Line up between the foot spot and the diamond here on the rail. Look down and see if when you stroke the stick, when you start that it's over, and when you move it stays over. A problem I've had was that I turned too much this way, and when I pulled back I'm exaggerating a little, but not much. The more I pull my arm back, the more I would tend to be offline. So watch for that, and what you want is, you want the natural motion of your arm to be centered, not that way. So moving this way, either moving sideways or changing my foot position to change the angle, whatever puts my shoulder out further would help me do this better. If I'm getting too close for coming in here, what I can do is just turn completely this way and see, now that's wrong. I can move forward, and that's better. Let's try with the ball. That worked. In the previous vantage, I was focused on the balls. Here's a position where when I stroke back, it tended to pull off to the side. So one choice is to keep my angle, but just move a little bit this way. And line up more. Another choice is to turn a direction, and for me it's flatter. Moving my shoulder out a little further so that the natural motion is more over this diamond. But another choice is to bend over more this way. The problem with this and coming this way is that I start having issues of clearance. And even if I'm not actually hitting, I might be tempted to swerve around my body to make sure I don't hit. So the solution is to go more at an angle, bend down, and then find the right. This is obviously not right. So there can be a position that you look for. It's bent down, bent over. Gives you clearance, and that you can go straight, and your natural motion is straight. I can do this some. What I have to do is lock my shoulder and not let it vary, and find what position is natural. What I didn't talk about yesterday was grip. Grip is really important. Grip really affects whether you can go straight or not. So let's take some position here. And let me try and just move with my grip. If I have a really weird grip and I try and go back and forth, you see what happens. Here's kind of the opposite way. So you want to find a way that if you actively use your muscles and do a natural motion of your wrist back and forth, your grip allows that to be in a straight line. Now, I'm not telling you that you should actively use muscles when you shoot, but this is a way to find out whether your grip is right, that the natural motion, if your hand moves, we'll call it the wrist moves, you want it so that it's natural and in line. Okay. Oh, another thing, shooting the ball. The other thing, if it's consistently going off to one side, is that you might not be lining up on the center of the ball. You might be lining up a little off to one side or the other. Your vision, you may not be aligning your eye to the stick properly, or you just have a perceptual problem, or just a habit that you've tended to lock in on that the center is somewhere that's not the center. So if you consistently are aiming off to the side, if the ball's coming back to one side, and you think you're lined up, you may not be lined up on the center. So try adjusting your aim relative to the ball to move over. So I tended to be coming on this side more than anything, so that would argue I should come, I'm exaggerating, come over this way a little bit and experiment with that. As you get better, try higher speeds. Be careful with higher speeds about hop. If your rail cushion nose is a little bit low, the ball will hop easily, and certainly if you put topspin on the ball. So pick your spot and consider center ball rather than topspin, or even slightly below center. And then when you really want to challenge, hit with draw. Draw magnifies any off-center hit, and the sounded impact on the far rail changes if you hit it with when backspin is still present. Now, something I find very surprising is that after this stroke practice, I frequently find that my shot making has deteriorated. I use the half ball hit, the spot shot, so don't be surprised if that happens to you. Find what you need to change to start making shots again, and try to keep some of what's new with what you just learned. For me, it's about turning my hand a little bit. I have to consciously rotate a little bit counterclockwise to make shots. Consider alternating between this stroke practice and shooting spot shots, and find one way that works with both. We've seen that there can be many aspects to this phase of practice. The goal is a reliable stroke to hit where we intend, and in addition, learning to hit center ball will further help with both shot making and position play. This phase can be just a simple warm-up, or it can also be a place to investigate new stance and grip. We can use dry practice before hitting the stripe up and back. We've learned a way to quickly groove new validated stance mechanics. We've advanced from a simple stripe up and back to higher speeds and even draw. And we might need to alternate with spot shots to make sure our new mechanics allow us to actually make shots. Try it out. I'll have more to say about fine-tuning mechanics in a later video on the full table 5/16 hit shots. See you next time.